Hello and welcome to my top 10 picks for characters I love to see in Marvel Rivals that are not basic and relatively not that safe of choices. And the thing is, like, do not get me wrong, the safe and basic choices are fine, but I just think with Marvel Rivals that has not shied from using relatively obscure characters like Luna Snow, Jeff the Land Shark, and Penny Parker. And even like characters that have a legacy title like Iron Fist, that's not Danny Rand, it's Lilia, who was Swordmaster. They're not shy from using obscure characters, and I think that's cool. And so I am hoping we can get a relatively obscure picks, because a lot of the characters I've seen on a lot of lists out there are kind of basic in my opinion. They're kind of too safe for my liking. Like, I've seen Cyclops, which makes a lot of sense. I think he has a really good chance of being in the game, and I'm not going to be mad if he's in the game. I like Cyclops. And I do think he would be in the game, especially with X-Men 97, how popular that was. Furthermore, I've seen Daredevil, who is also, I think, a really safe, basic pick. And so this list is gonna be more obscure picks, except for maybe two. One of them for sure is very safe. The other one's kind of safe, but everyone else is more obscure, and I think would be really interesting. And it's not that I'm just choosing them because they're obscure. I'm choosing because I legitimately want to see them in the game because I think they'd be so fucking cool. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get onto the list. So to get out of the way, what my relatively safe choice is Colossus from the X-Men, my favorite superhero of all superheroes, my favorite X-Men, and my heavy metal mutant boy would be a Vanguard. He's designed to be a Vanguard, And so a lot of damage mitigation is what I think he would have as his abilities. I think he'd have something similar to Fortify from Orisa in Overwatch. I think his movements would be relatively slow because he is a big metal man after all. And so truly, I would love to just see Colossus in the style of Marvel Rivals as well, because I really like the art direction they went for the game. And I think he'd be really cool. He'd punch people. He has used weapons before, but I doubt he'd use a weapon honestly in the game. He's used the soul sword before, but that was for an alternate universe sort of vibe. He's used guns before because he was part of X-Force, so everyone used a gun at one point pretty much. But yeah, but for his ult though, I've come up with one of two things. We could do a callback to the X-Men arcade game where he just screams and then just flashes and hits a bunch of stuff. Or what I think he could do is grab someone and then spin around a bunch with them and then do a lot of damage to that one person he grabs and then slam them down, and just the whole time doing a lot of AoE. I think something his gimmick should be kind of pushing people or knocking them up, just to, as a little bit of crowd control. I think Colossus would be the perfect character to kind of do some anti-crowd control sort of things, because I think that just makes sense for my metal boy. Next up is Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is a very underrated character in the Marvel universe in my humble opinion. He's really, really cool. He has a lot of antimatter manipulation. He's worked with Captain Marvel, Spectrum. He does a lot of more of the cosmic space adventure stuff. And I just think he's really cool. Now, I struggled a little bit to put him in what role, and I think he would work really well as a Vanguard. And you're gonna find out half of this list are Vanguards, and that's just wild to me because I don't actually like playing Vanguard because I don't typically like tanking in a lot of games. If Colossus is put in the game, I would willingly tank, but otherwise, I'm not much of a tank person. But anyway, so Blue Marvel I think would be a pretty good Vanguard. Duelist maybe, and I think he could be the Sigma analog from Overwatch, where he could throw out little antimatter little antimatter projectiles, and he would do energy absorption stuff because that's part of his power set, is that he's able to absorb energy, and so that could give him some bonus health. I think could be really helpful for him for sustain, and then just an energy beam to shoot out, just as extra damage. And I don't quite know what his ult should be, to be quite honest. That's not already something that already exists. I don't know. His ult I think could be a black hole. So okay, actually no. I think what his ult could be is that he throws out black hole and then people get sucked into it. So it's a little bit of crowd control, some damage while they're in that, and yeah, I think that works pretty well for him as an ult. Because I struggle to think of anything else that might work for him. But Blue Marvel is a really great character. And then I don't know what sort of team ups or costumes he would have actually, because like his costumes, he's had relatively the same look over the years, and so they'd probably have to give him some like Marvel Rivals original stuff. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of any looks he might have. And then team up wise, I'm not quite sure like what the existing cast, like what characters he would have good team up potential with. If I'm being totally honest, I think maybe Magic. This next pick is going to take some explanation from me on how I think the gameplay should be. However, I don't think it's balanced at all. I don't think they could ever make it balanced, so I highly doubt this will ever make it in the game. But I'm just gonna put it out there just in case. So my next pick, another Vanguard, is Kid Kaiju. Kid Kaiju, Ken Kawade. He's a really fascinating character. Unfortunately, he doesn't do a whole lot in the Marvel comic universe right now. And that's pretty unfortunate because his powers are really cool. He's able to create and summon kaijus. So whatever he draws, that thing will come to life. And that's a really cool power in my humble opinion, honestly. And I think he would be a really interesting take on a Vanguard. So what I think could happen is that once he leaves spawn, he's able to summon up one of 3 different kaijus. And just for ease of use, I'm going to call them the red one, the blue one, and the green one. And something I think that could be really helpful is that you're able to not just, you can't switch them on the fly, you have to like recall them so the Vanguard would go away and he could summon the new one out. But that's gonna take time, and especially if you're trying to hold the point or like push the point, you might not want to do that. So you control Ken at first and you run around, and maybe you need to try to find somewhere to hide and then summon up your kaiju, and then that's what you control. I think something the opposing team could do is try to find Ken's body and attack that directly. And if Ken goes down, then the kaiju also goes down. If the kaiju goes down, then Ken is able to summon up a new one. So it's like a little bit of like a hide and seek vibe. I do not think this would work. I do not think it's balanced, but I think it's a really interesting idea. And so if there is a way for them to make it balanced and work, then by all means, that's really fucking cool. The different kaijus are gonna have pretty much the same skill set. Maybe just a little bit of different stats. So like the red one could hit harder but is lower health. The blue one could be more health but is slower. The green one could be like kind of in the middle and stuff like that. And then they could all have like an AoE ability that does different things depending on what they are. So one can do a lot more damage, one could heal, one can put up a shield. Like those are just my ideas. And then ult wise, I think the kaijus should just go really big and then just hit things in a really big form. And they also get a shit ton of health. I don't think they'll ever put Kid Kaiju, or at least this version of Kid Kaiju that I'm pitching in the game, because that's essentially creating 4 different game models. And I don't think that will work out, unfortunately. Okay, just to break things up a bit, my next pick is also like my semi-safe pick, I feel like, and it's Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones, people do know who she is because she also got a Netflix show, and so people know who she is. But I think she'd be a really fun character, and I think she would be a duelist. I did think about making her a Vanguard because she does have durability, like super durability. But I think she fits duelist a little bit more. And so I think she is the type of character that can really charge up her abilities and charge up her attacks to do extra damage or to get extra mileage out of them. And so I think that'd be really fascinating. So like one of her abilities could be like the Doomfist Rocket Punch, where it's like holding the button and then launching out. She also should have her guided flight, which I would say, hey, think of Baptiste from Overwatch, where you could hold crouch and then jump up. So for her, it'd be hold shift, jump up really high, and then a slow fall as long as you're holding space or something. And that'd be fun because like Jessica Jones can fly, she just doesn't like to do it because she gets motion sick. And so I think just like having that be her guided flight would be really interesting. And yeah, I think she would just be, again, like a really fun character just to have like more of like this like charging mechanic where she can hold down the button and then launch out to do pretty good damage. Now, I don't know what her ult should be. You're gonna find out. I don't know what a lot of characters' ults should be because I struggle to think of things that aren't already in the game. And I'm also thinking of Overwatch, and some of them just don't really work for a lot of these characters. And so for Jessica Jones, I do not know what her ult should be, being totally honest. Costume wise, there's a good variety of costumes for Jessica Jones out there. We could have her take up her Jewel look, her nitrous look, the way she looks in her Netflix show, the way that she kind of just looks normal now. Next up is Songbird. Oh man, I like Songbird a lot. She's really cool. She was part of the Thunderbolts, and her whole thing is, her whole group really, because I don't know if she still leads the Thunderbolts or she still leads groups or not, but her whole thing is being redeemed villains. So these are people who used to be baddies and they're reforming and doing good things and seeking redemption. And she's been seeking redemption for many years, and I think she's finally got it, honestly. But no, I think Songbird is so cool. She's such a fascinating character. She's able to fly, so I think her mobility should be like Iron Man and Storm, who could just, you know, kind of just fly the whole time. Her powers are sonic screams, and so she just shoot out like voice bullets. I think her whole gimmick should be slowing people down. So if she hits people with certain abilities, they'll just slow down a lot. Kind of like so we have Black Widow, right? Who her pulse rifle ult is able to slow people down in the field. I think Songbird should be able to just slow people down for a certain amount of time. She should have a few dashes, just a little bit for extra mobility, and then her ultimate. This is probably like the only definitive ultimate that I can think of for her, and the only definitive ultimate I can think of just as a person doing this. And so I think her ult should be a callback to her Screaming Mimi days. So she used to be called Screaming Mimi because she used to be a wrestler, and so I think it'd be cool if she could dash forward, grab someone if she can, launch up, and then do the Doomfist reticle thing in his ult, and then like slam back down and do AoE damage to people who are in the reticle, and then a massive damage to the person she grabs. I think that'd be really cool. And even if she doesn't grab someone, I think she should still be able to do the reticle and AoE damage, just so it has utility that way. It just might not do as much damage or anything like that. And I think people should be slowed down also. But yeah, I think Songbird would be a really fun choice because she is a pretty obscure pick, and I think she's just really cool. Costume wise, we gotta have her Screaming Mimi look because I think that makes sense. I can see most of her costumes just being color swaps. I don't know if she's still with Baron Zemo though. If she is, then like colors representing him, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And then potential team ups. I think she could have a team up thing with Luna, just because Luna's a K-pop star, and then Songbird does voice stuff, so like maybe amplifying some ICA like breath attacks or amplifying Luna. I don't know. I think Luna, it makes sense as a team up. My next pick is Cosmo the Spacedog. Now I kind of want Marvel Rivals to give us all of these super pets, these super animals, just so we could have a whole team of them. And so I think Cosmo the Spacedog would be a really fascinating pick. Cosmo the Spacedog would be a strategist in my opinion. I think that makes the most sense to me. And the thing is, I don't think Cosmo can really heal. And so what I think Cosmo could do is just be a full utility crowd control type of support character, where a lot of the abilities is stunning people and then like lifting them up in the air just so they're easier to hit. Like they can still attack, but they just can't move. And I think that's pretty much most of Cosmo's kit is gonna be that. Like his AoE, or like his ult could be an AoE version of that, getting more people and launching them up in the air. But I also think he should do kind of the Ramacha thing, that's like if he ults, then people in the air get dropped back down, just so like they're easier to hit, you know. So I think that's most of what Cosmo could do. Costume wise, I have no idea. I have no idea. Cosmo could be anything he wants to be. Next up is Devil Dinosaur. This is also another Vanguard. Devil Dinosaur is the big mutant T-Rex, and I love him. Who does not want to play a big mutant T-Rex in Marvel Rivals? I think that'd be really fun. Now, it would be really funny if they made Devil Dinosaur like the biggest character in the game, and then people are able to wall jump or wall run on Devil Dinosaur. But I think that causes a lot of balancing issues and just might not make sense, so it's fine. But again, I just like Devil Dinosaur a whole lot, so let's get Devil Dinosaur in the game, please. Ability wise, I think you should have a roar, kind of like Junker Queen, to give people a movement speed boost and a bonus health boost for a little bit. I think that just makes a lot of sense for a little bit of utility. He should have like a big tail sweep, a bite attack, you know, just dinosaur stuff really. Ult wise, again, not quite sure. I think it could be something like a trample, so you can trample on people and then knock them down, which causes them to like not be able to do anything for it sometimes. So that gives some utility that way. But I feel like a trample makes the most sense for Devil Dinosaur, but you know, it could be anything. Costume wise, he has a lot of different kind of like style looks that could be put in the game. Like there could be a more cartoony version, a more photorealistic version, you know, stuff like that. I think that would make a lot of sense. Team up wise, I'm still not sure team up wise with the existing cast, but I do think he should have something with Captain America and or Spider-Man, just because he has teamed up with both of them before in the comics. Next up is Elsa Bloodstone. I love Elsa Bloodstone a lot, honestly. Elsa Bloodstone is a really fucking cool character who is... I think they try to push Elsa Bloodstone. Like, they did put her in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, but not a lot of people still know who she is. She's really cool. She's a monster hunter. She does a lot of, you know, like, supernatural stuff. She fights a lot of supernatural threats, and she's able to kick everyone's ass. Honestly, she's so fucking cool. I love her so much. So she should be able to switch between two different sets of weapons, kind of like how Punisher is able to. So she should have double Uzis and double shotguns. The double shotguns are notorious with her. Like, there's not a look without Elsa Bloodstone without her having her dual shotguns. So I think that'd be cool. And it also gives her some variety, so she could do Uzis for like quick firing but like low damage, and then dual shotguns for up close burst damage. Makes a lot of sense. She should have an ability that she calls upon the power of her Bloodstone Choker, which I think would give her either a damage boost or a attack speed boost, or both. I think that makes the most sense. She should also have a teleport because she uses an item that lets her teleport, but not like a massive teleport, just like she looks somewhere and then she can teleport up there. Just to give her a little bit more of a positioning tool as well, I think could be really helpful. Ult wise, I think her ult should be like Miss Fortune's ult in League, where she's able to shoot a volley of shots in a cone in front of her. But unlike Miss Fortune, I think she should be able to move around, and then like slowly, but still move around, and also be able to angle it differently just to get the most mileage out of it. But yeah, team up wise, like lore wise, it makes sense for her to team up with Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, Cloak and Dagger, but I don't know what she would do honestly with any of them. Alright, next up is Dr. Voodoo. Dr. Voodoo, also a very underrated character in the Marvel universe. He's really cool. He was also Sorcerer Supreme at one point, so I think that's cool. Dr. Voodoo, I think, is a strategist. I think he would be a really good strategist character, and I think he's the type of character that could set up things. So I think he'd be able to throw down some totems on the battlefield and then be able to do stuff with that as his whole ability kit. So if people are next to his totems, then he's able to heal them or give them bonus health or a shield or something like that. I think that could all be really cool. Dr. Voodoo is just so fucking cool. I really like Dr. Voodoo a lot. I was very disappointed he was not put in Midnight Suns, but that's a whole different subject. So my idea for Dr. Voodoo's ult is, think about if you play Overwatch 2, or I've seen it, think of Juno's ult where she calls down like a beam and just like heal and damage boosting. I think it could be similar to that, but with his brother, and it's just like a slow moving thing, and anyone standing in it is being rapidly healed and also has a damage boost while they're inside. And I think that could be really cool. I think that works really well for his ult, but I think he also has potential for other ults as well. So I am open to any suggestions. I just think Dr. Voodoo is just really cool and should be utilized a little bit more. Team up wise, Doctor Strange is the most obvious pick when it comes to a team up with Dr. Voodoo, because they're both doctors and they both have been Sorcerer Supreme. I also think he should have a team up with Storm, especially with what's happening to her in the comics right now. She went to him for help, and so I think they should have. So I think I think a good thing Storm could have by teaming up with Dr. Voodoo is that her radius stuff, she could maybe do some healing. I think a heal could be really cool as like part of her team up with Dr. Voodoo. So I just want to do a quick round of honorable mentions because why not? So I had Black Bolt on this list until I was like, I don't like, you know how confused I was with doing ults, especially with Black Bolt too. Because the thing is, Black Bolt ult I think would just be like another version of Iron Man's or Scarlet Witch's, because he's known for his quasi-sonic screams, which are known to fucking kill people if he literally even says anything. And so I don't know what his ult should be. That's my problem. But I do want to see Black Bolt in the game, especially in his Quiet Room tuxedo, because that shit looks so fucking good. I did have Angela and Jean Grey on this look, but there is a leak that came out recently, and it came out like it came out like as I was trying to figure out the characters I want on this list. So Jean Grey and Angela were on my list, but they are on that leak list, so apparently they're gonna be in the game, which is cool. I love both of them. Jean Grey is apparently going to be a strategist, or that's what people are theorizing, and then Angela would obviously be a duelist. If they make her a Vanguard, I'd be surprised, but I'm not gonna be that surprised. But she's a duelist through and through, and I love Angela, so that's really cool that they might put her in the game. The characters I would love to see in the game, as well as honorable mentions, I want to see Arrow. I think she's really cool. Mirage, Danny Moonstar, I love her so much. She should have a team up with Magic, because they were New Mutants together. I'm trying to refrain from putting a shit ton of X-Men, but I think like Armor would be a really good pick as a Vanguard, because people are like, oh, what's a female Vanguard? That's not Big Bertha or She-Hulk. I was like, well, we have Armor. Armor's really fucking cool. Ooh, I would love to see if they put Danger in the game. Danger, I think, would be a really cool Vanguard as well. My hopes for Marvel Rivals is that they do a PvE mode. I really hope they do a PvE mode. I want them to do a PvE mode so bad, because they have a whole story that they're trying to tell as well, right? And so I think they should put Sentinels in the game. Not necessarily as the playable character, just like as a concept. I want to see Sentinels. Well, I can't say Sunfire because they're already putting Human Torch in the game, so Sunfire is not going to provide much, like anything that different. Silver Samurai might be really cool. Spiral might be really cool. Omega Red actually might be really cool also. I want Agent Venom in the game, but we already have Normal Venom, and Normal Venom already has a costume that's Space Knight, which is supposed to be Agent Venom's thing. And so I highly doubt we'll get Agent Venom as his own separate character. So what I'm imagining that could happen is that if there are characters that are relatively already similar to characters that are already in the game, they might just make them costumes and then maybe like do different voices for them. So Agent Venom, because if you don't know, Agent Venom is not Eddie Brock. Agent Venom is Flash Thompson, and my favorite Venom, by the way, Venom host, by the way. Like, he's really good as Venom. Like, Agent Venom's so cool, and he's alive again. He was dead for a hot minute. It's comics; they're always gonna be brought back at this point. I would love to see Agent Venom in some capacity, because I just love Agent Venom so much. And going off of that, like, I also thought about Spider-Gwen. I don't know how they're gonna differentiate Spider-Gwen from Spider-Man. And so they might just do like the whole like costume swap situation and just make it Spider-Gwen and a different voice. And I think that's a really good way and easy way to put more characters in the game without having to create like a whole new model, like a whole new character, like with their own skill set and everything. Lastly, I think Hercules would be really cool as a Vanguard. Doorman would be hilarious, but I want really obscure picks too, you know? Like, give me Dupe. Or Brew. I would love Brew. Strategist Brew. Hell yeah. And then Black Cat would be really cool too. She's not that obscure, but I just love Black Cat. I'm just throwing that out there. Alright, and for my very last pick, that is a surprise pick for you guys here on YouTube, but not on TikTok, where I made like a shorter form of this. My last pick is Baymax. I don't know what is happening with Big Hero 6. I don't know if it's like fully a Disney thing and not a Marvel thing anymore, because Big Hero 6 started off as a Marvel comic. And so I don't know if Marvel still owns Big Hero 6 and they're just lending it to Disney. But Disney does own Marvel, so I don't really know if there's any legal issues here. All I do know is that Baymax would be a really fun character in Marvel Rivals. Now, the thing is, Baymax has two different looks. They both work, and I'm fine with either one of them being like his base look, and then the other one could just be a costume. But the thing is, it's like, do we go with like OG comic Baymax where he's a reptile man, or do we go with big fluffy soft movie Baymax? I don't know. But I think Baymax could be our Diva analog. I know that's supposed to be Hulk, but I think Baymax might be able to pull it off a little bit better. So I think Baymax, like, over time, if he takes a lot of damage, he loses armor, and then the more armor he loses, the more damage he takes, and then once he loses all armor, then he pops out, and then it's just like a reptile or a big fluffy man kind of vibe. I don't know. Should have like a rocket booster thing for mobility. He should have an ability that can also re-up his armor, just because like if he can't sustain himself, then it's gonna be hard to be a Vanguard. I think he should have a healing field like ability for some utility for his allies. Ult wise, I think we should just do the Diva ult. I do. I just think we should just do the Diva ult. Team ups, I think he could have some fun team ups with Jeff for maybe some enhanced healing things, or even Iron Man because of the suit stuff. So like maybe more armor for him. I don't know. Costume wise, like I said, we either do Reptilian or Big Marshmallow Baymax as base, and then the other one could just be a costume. I think his other costumes like that aren't like gonna be like legendary ones, I guess, could be palette swaps of other members of Big Hero 6. So like the yellow and black look of Gogo Tamago, a green one for Wasabi no Ginger, so on and so forth. All right, quick fire round of 3 maps I would love to see in the game as well. I actually had Atlantis on this map list, but after a little bit of further thought and editing, I actually want to see Murder World. I think that would be actually a really interesting map. Next one, Savage Lands. I would love to see Savage Lands so bad. I love Savage Lands. It's just this untouched island that has a bunch of prehistoric shit like dinosaurs. I think it'd just be such a pretty map. I just think it'd be cool. And lastly, Krakoa. As an X-Men boy, I would love to see Krakoa so bad because it is their sovereign nation. It's the mutant island. I just want to see Krakoa so bad, and it's referenced a couple times by Magneto in the game, so just give me Krakoa. And there's so many cool places you could like have Krakoa be. It'd probably be a domination map, honestly, and there's a lot of places you could show off. I don't know. I just love Krakoa, so give us Krakoa. Okay, that's it. Thanks.